Hello, and welcome to the Human Side of Real Estate podcast. My name is Mark Toomey. I'm managing partner of Tara HRC, which is a boutique real estate headhunter based in Warsaw, Poland. My guest today is Daniel Bienias, managing director of CBRE CEE.
Yes.
Daniel, hi, how are you doing? Great to see you.
Likewise, great for, inviting me to the podcast. We did discuss a lot about that. I was a little bit, hesitant, but I said, let's do it.
Oh, well, look, we went out for lunch a couple of months back, and I was still kind of considering whether or not I would do this podcast. I had the idea, had the concept. I was having a bit of a crisis of confidence because I wasn't really sure if I could pull this off, first of all. But I wasn't really sure how I would structure these conversations or how they would look like. And so we went out for lunch and we fired across so many different topics, business, personal life, philosophical. We did so much in about an hour and a half. And when I came away from that lunch, I said to myself, that's exactly how I want this to be. It's just that free-flowing conversation, no agenda, no expectation, non-transactional, just let it flow. And so I came out of that lunch and I was thinking, and I just said, yeah, that's it. I know what I want now. So thank you. You really helped me on that. So how's your summer been? Are you nice and refreshed and ready for action for the rest of the year?
My reflection on the summer, it is still going on and it's beautiful. And it's been like 3 months already, beautiful weather. If I were to choose going somewhere, to the south of Europe or staying in Poland for the summer, actually, this is one of the best summers I had in my entire life, being here in Poland. But I did travel a little bit, but I enjoy beautiful weather. The city is empty. People are smiling. Yeah. I've seen a lot of tourists from Spain in Warsaw.
Interesting.
Some people from, Portugal, I think. I heard that a lot of people from Czech Republic coming to Poland. Amazing.
Yeah, I was exactly the same. Just hung out with the kids in the garden. We did a week away, but it was just for a change of scenery and just to entertain the kids, really. But no, I love Poland in the summers.
I left for a week or so as well. So it's not that I was stuck at home. But I like the sort of summer feel in the city where a lot of people is are gone. The things are a little bit slower, and you have a time also to think about business life. You need just a little bit of a slowdown. Right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so speaking of that lunch that we had, we covered a lot of different things on that lunch, and I've kind of picked out a few things from that conversation that I'd like to kind of talk about today. And although we've kind of covered it a little bit, so it's more of an expansion of that conversation for us. But one of the things that I picked up on that really resonated with me, and I know it's something that you're quite passionate about, and it's something I'm quite passionate about as well, is the whole area of continuous improvement. And, when I talk about continuous improvement, I'm talking about that very kind of the decision to undergo a self-examination in a certain part of your life and make a conscious decision to, okay, that's an area of my life that I want to improve. And it doesn't, and it can be academic, or it could be in your personal life, or it could be in your sporting activities. So it doesn't matter what it is. It's just, and I want to kind of differentiate that from the the life lessons that you get, or maybe like the ass kickings that you get from life, where something happens to you and you go, oh, okay, I've learned from that now. So something, so a more kind of actionable, conscious decision making. And like with you, when we talk about, self-examination, like, was there a point in your life where you kind of started this process of self-examination, or is it something that you felt you've always done in your life?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I mean, I think I've done it multiple times, but there are some crucible moments in my life that sort of shaped me, to actually to the state where I'm right now. By the way, if I make some mistakes in English, please correct me, and I'll correct your Polish. All right?
Okay.
I'm not native. Anyway, there were some crucible moments. Some of the moments I will not share because they're super personal.
Of course,
and maybe they're not super appropriate today. But there were, and I was always looking back what I've done in the past and what I'm doing right now, and what could I do in the future. And one of the things was the sort of lifelong learning. So I did multiple courses during my career, some postgraduate studies. When I started in the beginning of 90s, my parents couldn't afford to send me abroad to study. I studied in my hometown. And then when I moved to Warsaw, because I'm originally from Szczecin, I moved to Warsaw via Krakow, and there I started the sort of real estate career. But then in this real estate career, I needed some education as well, because the studies you were getting in local university, it was super general. It was marketing and management back then, super popular curriculum back then. But then you need to do something just to be sort of professional. And I did CCIM. I did postgraduate studies in Warsaw Polytechnical School, Warszawska Politechnika Evaluation. I did the Sheffield Hallam course, which I have a lot of friends from real estate. They, we did together those courses over there, and multiple friends are now executives in the big companies. So it was a very nice professional journey in real estate education. But there was something also which I needed when I took over the managing of the CBRE Polish business. I needed specialize in the general management, right? The company is big. And it's growing in a nice pace, so you need to have a little bit different skill set as well than professional.
Because it is interesting, because if you look at your kind of your career story, and you got to a point where obviously you're a senior manager with one of the biggest real estate companies in the world. You've essentially made it to the top, but you're still hungry for more. You're still hungry for more academia, and which I always find really interesting, because it must be a really kind of tough decision to say, okay, I've got a very a lot of work on, a lot of stress on. You've got your private life. You're trying to balance everything, and then you say, but yeah. I feel that I need more. Can I ask you this? Were there any kind of? Did you feel there were any kind of insecurities in that decision to go back to school, to go to Harvard, and to do the general management program? And what I mean is, did you feel in any way that you were maybe being time was moving on and maybe you were being left behind the curve a little bit? Was there any of that in your decision making, or how was that decision making?
So I think I wanted to explore something new, right? I had some experience while managing the company. I did some courses, but I wanted to have a little bit different experience. And being on a campus with 100 people from different locations in the world, basically, what you get is like tons of experience from different perspectives. So, if you discuss some kind of a problem, some kind of a management issue with those people, you get tons of knowledge and tons of recipes how to handle certain things. So this plus the network is like super big benefit.
And I was going to ask you that because and maybe you've just answered the question. I was going to say, well, why that particular program? Why Harvard? Why that particular program?
We were analyzing different programs. Harvard was my thing in my head. Ivy League. Very prestigious. As I said, my parents couldn't afford me to send, even, I don't know, to Germany to study in the 90s. So I wanted this prestigious university. The program itself, we were debating whether GMP or AMP, this is the advanced management program. But I said, maybe let's start slow and then go and move to another level. So AMP, maybe it's, just in front of me.
Yeah.
But the thing was that, also the experience, I wanted to have like, that was, the whole course was 4 months, 4 months online, and 3 months online and 1 month on a campus. Okay. And I had a chance to do it, to kick off during pandemic, but I decided to postpone a year just to have this real experience. Because when you go to the campus, you just, you have totally different experience than to be part of the most expensive online, university. Yeah. This is all about the experiences. Yeah. And when you have the physical contact with your professors and your colleagues over there, it's hell of a difference than online.
And in terms of kind of balancing that study with your work life, your private life, how did you find that?
If you make a choice that you want to do it, you just do it. You ask about insecurity. Totally not. Actually, that was one of the best choices. And also this, this may be a piece of advice to some of my, younger colleagues or wherever. If you want to develop yourself, taking additional, let's say, workload or development, studies or new program or course, you're just sending a message that you want to develop yourself. So then the others look at you. This is the guy who, we can count on in the future. So, it's worth doing that. Yeah. Because you develop yourself, but also you give like positive message to whoever is looking at you and supports you in the organization, in work, at home as well.
And it was interesting because you described your academia path, and I think I've seen it, a lot. And I think most people in real estate in Poland and in CEE have taken the same route. They've done a general kind of management degree when they first went to university, and then they got into real estate, and then they started to realize, okay, I need to develop my career in real estate. I need, specialized courses. So a lot of them go back and do masters in Sheffield or Nottingham, and then you have the RICS, which a lot of them do, and then a lot of people seem to stop after that, and I don't know, like, do you think if you've already done your degree, your masters in real estate and RICS, is that enough? And is talent and ambition enough to get you to the top of the the latter, or do you think you just continuously need to go back and do more?
I think you have to continue to do more. I don't want to generalize, and most probably you have a better view because you work in HR, so you see some patterns. But that also depends what you want in life. If you want to somehow create a career towards being a specialist in real estate or any kind of industry, that's fine. But if you want to do the management of the company, the skill set is totally different, right? So you have to have a little bit of both.
Yeah.
You need to know about the sales. You need to know about the marketing. You need to know a little bit or even more about the finance. You need to be a psychologist even, right? Yeah. Especially in the company I'm working for, the biggest asset is our people. We don't have machinery. We don't have something which produces something. We have people who are specialists in their field, and you also have to be a good, skilled people manager as well, right? Yeah. To motivate people, to lead the way, and it's not only about me. It's actually any kind of a company you're managing, unless it's like only AI-driven, computer science-based company with no people, then you can
Yeah, well, that's pretty much how all those companies will look like in a couple of years' time.
I don't know. I have a little bit of a mixed feelings about the AI. Yeah. I think that people will be needed still to proofread what AI is producing.
Yeah,
but it's a side topic, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So picture this scenario then. Say like you've got a 38-year-old, somebody in middle management, doing quite well for themselves. They have 2 young kids at home, and they're thinking about going back and doing, advancing their career and what to do next in their career. Would you have any advice for these guys? What would you say to these guys?
Usually, when you're in that position, you have somebody who is looking at you, right, in the company, in any kind of organization. So you have somebody like line manager or mentor. Just talk to those people because they have some kind of idea in their heads as well. I think, what I can say, these are my experiences, but every company would like to, grow and expand. Maybe not all, but at least our company. And we need very good people. We need skilled people. We need people who are actually progressing in their careers. So I think the first step would be talk to line managers, talk to the mentors, but not about what kind of a idea a company has for you, but actually what you have an idea, and try to shape it up somehow.
I guess it's a very good point. And I guess line managers might have a better helicopter view of you, and they might be able to identify, okay, these are your strengths. So let's work to that. Let's if you want to do something, let's use your strengths.
I think a lot of people gets into this trap that I'm doing my job good, I'm successful, and I want something more, and the company should have like master plan for you, right? But this master plan is not gonna happen when you're not initiating it, right? Yeah. So my advice is just simply to talk and try to shape it up, but not come with sort of preconceived idea that somebody has to have a master plan for you, for me, right? Yeah. This is completely wrong. It's different. It takes 2 to shape it up because the managers, they have helicopter view what's happening in the company. They have broader picture. And only by the discussion with the managers you can shape it up something which is solid for you. But you have to initiate this, right?
So let's stay on that for a minute, because you joined CBRE in 2010. Is that correct? And you joined as head of tenant representation, and then 5 years later you were promoted to managing director. What do you think your managers saw in you to warrant that promotion? What do you think? What were the talents that you think that they spotted in you to say he's the guy for managing director?
Safe pair of hands they can trust, right? They've seen that there's some kind of a hunger also to do things and develop the company. But I think the safe pair of hands is something which is super important, because everybody wants to have, when I have my colleagues or managers, I know that they can do excellent work and I can trust them. So there's an element of trust, but also the idea that, I was in the competition, by the way. It wasn't like I was given on a silver platter. I was one of the three guys, right?
Obviously, I don't know the process, but what I'm kind of...
I won't tell you the details, but I was in the competition. And, this competition gives you as well a little bit of a positive kick.
Yeah.
Positive boost. So, I got to figure out something which is, that they will trust me and they will, appoint me.
Yeah,
right?
But okay, I know it's a difficult question to ask her, and maybe a slightly unfair question on you, because you don't know. They probably didn't give you an after briefing as to why they chose you exactly. But obviously, say pair of hands. But they obviously saw talent and they saw ambition and they saw leadership skills and I think they probably saw, a modern leader as well. And that's a phrase I hear a lot. And I think it has a lot of different meanings.
Modern leader?
Modern leader.
I'm 52. I don't know if I'm modern.
I think so. Like, come on, it's 50.
I'm just joking. I'm teasing you.
But I think, when I hear that and you think, well, what is a modern leader? What is modern leadership? And here's my take on it, and I'm curious to hear your take on it. So if we look at the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s, and I think, we were still very much in a carrot and stick mode, reward and punishment. And particularly in the 90s when we had, there was a lot of wealth generation. There was a lot of greed. There was a lot of power. There was almost a macho thing to leadership. And so when I look at modern leadership, and my connotation of it is, all that, wealth and greed and power and machoism has gone out of leadership. And I think the meaning of modern leadership is much more, it's a much more empathy-based model. It's a much more emotional intelligence-based model today compared to, the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s. Mm-hmm. And I think, right up until 2009, I think post-2009, I think this is when modern leadership really started to take hold. Because I think we had to change, because wealth and greed and power, we just saw with the financial crash in 2009, it's not sustainable, and it's not the carrot and stick model isn't sustainable. There has to be something else to it.
Oh, this is a huge topic. If we have time, we could spend most probably, the whole day from breakfast to dinner.
Sorry, it is broad, I know.
It's super broad, but you're right. One of the sort of classes or exercise at Harvard, we were discussing the sort of emotions. And, when I was a kid, and also it's a sort of family thing, I can express, even with words, the emotions. And it was mind-blowing exercise because, the vocabulary of different emotions is like huge, right? Why I'm saying this? Because you're absolutely right. To be a modern leader, you have to be inclusive, right? You have to talk to everybody, not to a certain group of people. You have to be sort of gentle. You have to work and talk with the empathy towards the others. Carrot and stick doesn't work whatsoever. And I was, raised in 70s, 80s, and sort of 90s, right? That was a special time in Poland. The changes, the capitalism, very brutal capitalism as well. So money and power was like the thing. When we sometimes discuss with our younger colleagues that, we've been in the office for 12, 16, 18 hours, some people are not able to even imagine that, that was the thing. And, or the real estate in Poland grew rapidly. I mean, a lot of industries, but, since we are in real estate, we've seen tremendous growth since GFC, right? 10, 15, 20% year on year. And, some of the younger generations never seen like a downturn, right? Always up and up and up and up. Whereas, and I'm slowly going into the topic of a couple of generations in the workplace.
Yeah.
This is, I think, super important. We need to understand each other, right? Because my sort of experiences, might not even be somehow, some younger colleagues might not even understand what I had in my life as an experience. A lot of people is talking that, younger generation, they are super demanding. They would like to get promotions in the 6 months. These are cliches and a generalism. Recently, I had a meeting with one of my colleagues from the industry, and this colleague says, "I love younger generations because I can learn from them." Right? I can learn, and as soon as I learn from them, I know how they think, and then together we can combine our experiences and create new excellent things.
It is interesting because you mentioned like you're only 52, but
my Garmin says 45.
So, but you think about somebody who's 32 in your company, and so that's a 20 years. A 20-year difference in terms of a generation, and for you and I, we kind of think back 20 years ago and we think, well, okay, the world has changed, a lot has changed, but it doesn't feel that there's been a huge amount of change. But then you've got somebody who's 32 and they're making their way in their career. They've already got a couple of years experience, and just their whole way of thinking is
Look, there always been and be sort of generational gap. When I was 23, 25, I couldn't understand my father. Now it's too late because he's gone 15 years ago. But it's like a normal thing. Generations are some kind of rebellious, towards mothers, fathers, colleagues in the workplace who are older, and that's fine because that's how the world is moving forward.
And I think
it's okay to be like that. But I'll give you a very nice observations. And some of the guys who are 32, again, this is classifications or generalization, but this is Gen Z? No, millennials, sorry. 32 is like millennial. And they're looking at Gen Z because they're coming to our work, to the company and we don't understand them.
Yeah.
So it's not something like unusual that the generations have different ideas, they different operate. But recently, things are moving faster because of the internet, because of the social media, because of the access to knowledge, and also the wealth of society in Poland, but everywhere, just gone up, right?
And you mentioned earlier, like, taking the time to learn from them. Like, they need mentors. They need you to be that mentor for
And
their.
I'm really happy to do so because I'm learning from them as well.
Yeah,
and this is a big thing for me.
And I think as well, and I think they need to understand, okay, this is not, and I had the same with my dad, this is not a rebellion against your dad, this is, but obviously there will be some of them who are younger and inexperienced and a little bit stubborn and a little bit thinking that, they know the right way and all of that.
That's fine. I love it. If somebody says from a younger generations, listen, I would like to be in your seat when the time comes, and I'm just loving it because this is like a hunger, ambition, and expressing, the ambitions in a transparent way. Transparency. This is the thing right now. If you're doing things untransparently in the workplace, it's a big mistake, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we mentioned mentors, and I'm just curious, from your own career, like, who could you say had a really positive influence on your career development then?
Usually my bosses. Some of them, I took part of their lesson because part I didn't like it. So usually you reject something which is not good for you, and you take the best. To tell you the truth, I don't have like a mentor from I don't know, some kind of a guru or whatever. But I think when I concentrate on the workplace, these were my bosses, and I was taking the best for me what they could offer.
Yeah. No, that, and I guess, just taking the best of what they have to offer, incorporating it into your own style, and speaking about your own style, then, so 2015 you were appointed managing director, so 9 years ago, almost 10 years ago now. Like, your style of management, how do you think it's evolved since 2015?
From like super oriented person in the service line, I had to do a lot of other things which, normally when you're leading just a service line, you're not doing, which is fine. It's a strategy, execution, business planning. I like it, I like it a lot. And most probably I'm not the best person to tell you how my management style has changed because it's like an evolution.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you one thing, which our colleague said, that she was saying, listen, I'm a little bit afraid because you're so focused on the sales of the services, but there's a whole lot of other activities when you're managing director, and that was our finance and CEO director.
Oh, okay.
And 9 years after, we said to each other, we love working together. Yeah. So I think that proved that I've changed my management style.
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course you grow into it, you evolve, and sometimes,
and naturally also you're becoming a generalist,
yeah,
right? When you're leading such a big company, you just scratching certain things. I mean, there are some areas that I go deep,
yeah,
but there are some areas that but you have to actually trust others that are specialists.
Yeah,
and give them a space.
Okay. One thing I wanted to get into, and it's related to this as well, and it's something we actually had a little bit of a talk about on that lunch, and I think it's, as we get older, I think we tend to be a little bit more selective.
Time is moving faster.
Yeah, with our time, with our knowledge, with everything really. I think we definitely become a lot more selective, and I think I think one of the hardest things, and I'm still in this phase of my life. One of the hardest things to learn is the art of saying no, to things. You've got to, and it's I don't know. I don't like me personally. I don't know how you feel, but me personally, I feel I'm an agent at heart. I'm always out. I'm always talking to people. I'm always trying to. I'm not saying I've always been a yes person. I'm probably more stubborn than that, but I'm certainly. My younger years, it was always a case of trying to please, particularly with clients and things like that. You're always trying to please. You're always saying, I'll do my best. I'll try and deliver exactly what you want, and and you do, and you say that in an honest way.
When you service provider, you just have to, but there's a limit as well. Right?
Yeah.
You cannot digest everything, and then you have to be selective. But let's maybe not dwell into professional things. And business, but like more general.
Yeah.
Right?
So the idea. So there's like, I listen to a lot of different podcasts and there's one British guy I listen to, a guy called Greg McKeown, and he's got a podcast, and I think he's got a book as well, and it's about essentialism. And it's really kind of helped me in I think in the last 12 months or so. And it's just about prioritizing what's important in your life. And you can kind of use that strategy then for your life, for your business. And it's about freeing up more time for yourself. By you can't only just focus on the things that are most important to you. They get the priority. And as you said, you've been in the position that you're in. You've got to cover a very wide range of things. But you do have people knocking on doors. And I said this to you when we had that lunch, and I said, I haven't seen you in ages. Like, I don't see you at the events or these things anymore. And you were like, I don't have time. I just.
No, look, I'm selective as well. You cannot attend all the events. Yeah. Thanks for the recommendation. I'll read that book, but I'll give you also a recommendation, and maybe this will be like sort of explanation of this sort of essentialism and prioritizing. So I attended a lecture of one of the professors. His name is Arthur C. Brooks, and he wrote a couple of books. One of the
I know that name, yeah.
From Strength to Strength.
Right.
It's about also deep purpose in life, a little bit of a deep purpose in the organizations, and his take was, and he's I think 60 something, but the whole book is based on research, of course, that where people get to the age of 40, 45, and they have good careers, they have families, right? They've achieved something in life, and then the sort of joy and satisfaction is gone because your career is not progressing so quickly, right? You're getting older, so you cannot do a lot of things as well. So, and his recipe, and maybe this is sort of answer to the question about the essentialism and prioritizing things, is, if you have a bucket list of things that you would like to do, just take one thing from the bucket list, let's say, every 6 months or maybe annually, and you'll feel relieved because you will not be pushed to do it.
Yeah, I like that idea.
And then only the most important things will stay with you. That depends on, individual, but it might be time with family, maybe time with 1 or 2 clients instead of 50, right?
Yeah.
Maybe this will be okay. Maybe I'll start playing guitar because I wanted to do it all my life. And then the satisfaction comes back.
Yeah, no, I definitely like that idea, and you're right. Like I'm 45 now, and and you know, and I was kind of thinking, is it that I'm getting a bit more grumpier as I get older? That I just, you know, I you know, and I'm starting to say no a lot more to personal events as well, not just work events, but just personal events. And just, I can't do it all.
Again, there has to be a balance because, you know, we're social creatures, and, you know, when you say no to everybody, they'll forget about you.
Yeah.
But I'm really enjoying, and I become empty nester, right? All my kids are gone now, university. So we're with my wife with 2 dogs. So we just enjoy social events right now. But it's an effort as well. So not all of the social events you can participate with, right?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Actually, I was speaking of Harvard. Are you familiar with the Harvard Human Development Study? Have you heard of this?
No, but you know, enlighten me. Maybe I'll get
So
familiar.
this is the longest running social science study in the world. This was started in 1938 by professors in Harvard. And the objective of this study was they wanted to know what it was that really made people happy. Was it money? Was it fame? Was it power? Was it family? Was it friends? So this study has been going on. It's still going on. So it started with 275 people, and they were split into Harvard sophomores, and so 130 Harvard sophomores, and then the second group was some of the poorest kids from the poorest neighborhoods in Boston. And so they wanted to put them side by side and study them for a period. Now, usually these studies peter out after 10 years or so because people, you know, they don't have funding or they can't continue it or people are not interested, not responding, whatever. But this study has gone on and on and on. So they revisit these people every year and they say, okay, what's making you happy? So at the end of the study, after 75 years of this study, and now the study has grown because now they're taking on the kids of these people and the grandkids. So now there's over like 2,000 people in the study. So it's a massive, massive study. But what was really interesting is they found, and one of the participants was actually John F. Kennedy, and he was president, so former US president. So there's only 6 people left in this study. They're well into their 90s, and they're like a treasure chest of information, you know. And so the bottom line of this study was the thing that provides the maximum amount of happiness was relationships, close relationships. Doesn't have to be a huge amount of relationships, but relationships that you can utterly, totally rely on, and even a small amount of them. And that was it. That was the number one thing. And so these guys in their 90s, you know, coming towards the end of their life, and they say, that's it. Forget money, forget fame, forget power, forget all of that. The thing that makes you happiest in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a tons of research about that, and you know, one of the biggest killer of people is actually, you know, when you're lonely.
Loneliness, yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, meaningful relationships.
Yeah,
this is the thing, right?
So, so that's something that, you know, again, kind of going back to that essentialism. That's something that, you know, we have to be conscious of as well, and you know, and it's about kind of taking those relationships that are worth spending time with, worth developing, worth investing, and
you know, less is more, right?
You know, so it's yeah. I'll send you some details. So I wanted to move on to a little bit about just your own headspace, I guess, and you know, what do you like to do to kind of distance yourself from just the noise of life.
Yeah. I'm not on a social media. FOMO is the killer, right?
Yeah.
You get this feeling and something is, eating you.
Yeah.
So I'm not on Facebook. I mean, I have an account that was active, so it's gone. I'm not actively participating on Instagram again. I like watching some stuff because it's inspirational. But it's eating up your time. I used to have all those apps in my telephone, and you just look at it. So it's gone.
Yeah.
And I'm saving a lot of time.
Yeah.
But how to be, mentally better? I don't know if you read 5 a.m. Club.
I know of
Robin
it.
Sharma.
I haven't read it, but I know of it. Yeah.
So again, the recommendation of the book. By the way, usually leaders are readers. That's what we're saying. And I like this book. And it's not only about waking up 5 a.m. just to have more, time for yourself, but it's a very simple advice. When you wake up, don't take this phone and look at this, but just reflect on things. Maybe to read something, go for a walk with the dog if you have, or simply exercise. So having this little bit time for yourself as well. Maybe not even a little bit time for yourself. I do a lot of cycling. I don't know if you know. So this is really like meditation. I hate driving a car in the city. I mean, long distance fine, but in the city, being stuck in the traffic, it frustrates me. So either I use the bike to school, or I have a scooter you've seen today. And I love the feeling that I'm passing in between the cars and I'm first, because I'm just saving my time. Just joking. I just feel much better. And being stuck in the traffic for me, it's
waste of time.
I'm wasting my time. And a lot of people would tell you, yeah, but I'm doing calls. I'm working in the car. But I don't want to work in the car. I work in the office. I work in my home office. I work meeting people. And this time when I commute to the office on my motorbike or a bike, it's like my time, right? Why should I give it to somebody else? So this is a headspace. When I'm coming back from the office, for instance, just to recuperate, I don't know if you know the place, the corner of Polna and Olandrów. There is a small place you can buy French fries. I recommend. Very good. With lemon mayo.
Okay.
So, when I have a long, tough day, students are coming to eat when, before or after party. Anyway, I just stop there. I just take this, small French fries, just sitting there looking at people. It's also a place, time for me as well.
Yeah. It's no, it's that.
I'm not meditating. I don't know if you know somebody who meditates. I'd love to start, but I don't know how.
Well, I've been doing it for a number of years, and it is actually one thing that I wished. Well, it's part of my long list of things I wished I'd started 10 years ago.
Maybe time to take something from the bucket list.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's just great just to have that few minutes every day, just to, and the idea of meditation isn't to switch off and forget about everything. It's just to allow yourself to be in a space and allow everything to be in that space with you, and be unafraid of all the other stuff that's there, and just realize that it's all just background noise. All these thoughts, everything that's going through, it's all just background noise. And you pick your anchor, whatever it is, whether it's you focus on breathing or a particular sensation, or you're listening to music or whatever. And you can do it even on your motorcycle, driving back and forth to work. And it's just, it's purely about just being absolutely present in every single moment. This moment, this moment, this moment, this moment, and
present and focus.
Yeah, and because you mentioned driving in a car, and it's like, when you're on a highway, when you're on a long drive, 20 minutes can go by and you can go, wow, where was I?
So I had this, I had like a headphone in my helmet. I'm not making this mistake again. I was riding motorbike, I think, to Mazure, and I don't remember 100 kilometers of the journey because I was talking to somebody. And I don't know if I was passing the streets on a red light, on a green. I don't know. It's super dangerous. Yeah. So no headset in a helmet.
Yeah. But that's something you can try. It's there are meditations for being on the move as well, and just being present in every step you take or every action that you take, even on the bike, every little turn you take. So I'll give you some things on that. Listen, time has flown here again. I can't believe how fast this has gone. This was just like our lunch that time. We had an hour and a half at lunch, and okay, we 45 minutes here. But look, we could do this all day long. This has been brilliant. But we do have to wrap it up because I think people at home are probably getting a bit tired of us at this stage. So listen, thank you so much for this. This has been absolutely brilliant, and just a wealth of great information, great advice, great kind of life takes. So again, I can't thank you enough. Thank you very much.
Pleasure. Happy to share. Happy to contribute. And again, I'm a humble person. The fact that I'm running very nice company, it's how to say. It's a very great experience and honor that I can do it. But the great company makes not a leader, but also the other people around. So, whoever is working alongside with me, I thank everybody because, the great company makes a team.
Brilliant. Okay. On that, we'll call it a day.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.